I normally start these videos by asking a question, and the question I would have asked in this case is, are you fearful or are you scared? But I don't know if you're going to be honest with me. So instead, I'm going to talk about me. I'm going to tell you about a time when I was terrified, petrified, and how I overcame the fear and how I started up this YouTube channel. That's what I was fearful of. And before I go any further, this isn't a video on how to create a YouTube channel. I don't know, I'm still learning. But I was crippled with fear on starting a YouTube channel. And I want to tell you how I got there. Many years ago, I was on a pirate radio station, one of the biggest pirate radio stations in London. And I had quite a successful show. I had a decent following. And when I went to the clubs, I was able to go to the clubs and entertain the patrons. And I had a lot of fun doing it. I loved the fact that I could walk around and nearly any club in East London I could just walk into. So I had a little bit of fame, a little taste of success, but it didn't last. I didn't want to become one of the DJs doing the club circuit all the time. And to be honest, I wasn't that great. I was good, but there are DJs out there that are excellent. And I didn't want to go and battle with them. That wasn't my thing. So over a period of time, I hopped around to a few stations. And the very last station I was on before I left the radio, I was on a tiny station. It was brand new. And I believed that I could recreate some of the magic that I had on the past stations. I thought that I'd be able to build up an audience and I'd be able to have some fun one last time. It didn't work. It was tumbleweed. It crashed and burned. So when I walked away from the radio station, I was, I was disappointed, but I chalked it up to experience and I moved on. I thought it was fine until my friend David started talking to me about having a YouTube channel. And I'd always say yes, but every time he brought it up, I'd say yes and I wouldn't move on it. He asked me some questions and that allowed me to start soul searching. And when I started thinking about why aren't you moving ahead? You keep saying you're open to it, but you're not taking any steps any closer to it. I found out the truth. The truth was that I was scared. I was scared. I kept finding reasons in my mind not to take the first step. And when I started to ask myself, why was I scared? The answers kept coming. I felt I was too old. I felt that nobody would want to hear from me. I felt that some of the things that I wanted to talk about, people already knew. And I didn't think that I'd be able to hold an audience because my last experience of talking to an audience was tumbleweeds. So I had to figure out how to overcome the fear. And I'm going to share with you 3 things I did to overcome the fear. Let's get right into it. Number 1 was I had to lose the shame of being scared. Now, I've worked on this over the years. So number 1, I've got it down. Number 2 and 3 is the ones that really helped me over the line. But I want to share number 1 with you because this is where it starts. I had to lose that shame of being scared. And you start by understanding what fear is. Fear is the belief that something that hasn't happened yet is going to happen. Now, fear has the same definition as faith, because the definition of faith is the belief that something that hasn't happened yet is going to happen. Now, what I had to learn to do was to live in faith and not in fear. Because at the end of the day, we all have faith. We're born with faith. Children have faith when they grow up. They don't have very many fears. We're only born with 2 fears. But we have faith. As we grow older, we live in faith. We drive in cars that could be relatively dangerous. We fly in planes. We live on a planet that's hanging on nothing, flying through the universe. So every day we live in faith. And as I said, we're born with 2 fears, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. As we go through life, we experience fear differently and we learn new fears. So we know the definition of fear, but what's fear made up of? Fear is made up of 2 things. A, it's made up of the thought that what I'm facing is too much, or we're unsure of what's going to happen, but we think something bad is going to happen and it's too much to deal with. That's A. B is that whatever it is, I am not enough. I'm not good enough to deal with it. I can't do it. That's what fear is. It's the belief that what's coming is so big, and it's the belief that it's so big and you can't do it. You can't deal with it. That's what I was dealing with. Nothing to be ashamed of. Being negative, is a normal part of life. And I'm not saying that you have to be negative. I'm not saying it's good to be negative. I'm just saying that it is true. It's negative. We're negative people. We have to work at being positive. It's very easy to be negative. If you want to see if human beings could be negative, just go and look on social media. We've got a platform in the UK called Nextdoor. I think they should call it Negative Door because I've seen nothing like it. But being negative is part of who we are. Being fearful is part of who we are. I'm not saying that you have to be negative. I'm not saying that you have to be fearful. I'm just saying to you, don't be ashamed. Work at getting over it. Now, one of the things I had to do was stop listening to people when they say to me, oh, the fear is only in your head. Well, that's the worst place for it to be. But look, once you work and you start accepting what fear is and you get rid of that shame that sometimes you are going to be fearful, then you can move on to number 2. And moving on to number 2 is admitting that I was scared. Now, I started a video recently and I said, I'm Anthony Charles and I'm an alcoholic. I said it as a joke, and I've used that in so many networking events. When I have to do an elevator pitch, I say it and it gets a little laugh. I said it at the beginning of the video and some people talked about it and it made a joke. But I've said that sentence twice in my life in all seriousness. Many years ago, I was asked by my then girlfriend to attend Alcoholics Anonymous. She said that I was drinking to excess. Now, for me, she said I was drinking to excess. I think I was drinking to capacity, but I went anyway. I didn't think it worked. I didn't think it had any effect on me. I went to 2 meetings and that was it. But now I look back, I realized the meaning and the power of those words. I'm Anthony Charles and I'm an alcoholic. It was admitting that there was a problem there. And just like being fearful, once I admitted that I was scared and I said to David, I'm actually scared of having a YouTube channel. Then I had to search for the reason why. I've told you the reason why. I found out the reason why. And that's the thing. Once you can start searching for the reason why, and then you can identify the reason why, then you can begin to do something about it. And that leads us on to number 3. There are so many ways that you can overcome fear. I've heard of so many different methods and systems. I only know one that works for me. And that's dealing with that small voice that is going on and on and on. Now, sometimes I say the small voice that's in your head and people think, oh, is it a voice that I'm supposed to hear? No, it's your thoughts. It's when you talk to yourself. Now, I know some of you are going to say, I don't talk to myself. That's the voice I'm talking about. Sometimes when you talk things through, you may be doing something and you're just speaking aloud. You're speaking to yourself. That's the voice. Sometimes we are letting it come out. Sometimes it's in and we're just thinking it, but it's the thoughts, it's the words that are going through your mind. And I had to get control of it, because what those thoughts do when you're fearful, when you're scared, they rationalize. It tells rational lies. It tells you a story that's going to protect you. And the story that protects you is a story that will trick you. It will trick you into thinking that everything is all right. It will trick you into thinking that you don't have to do that. It could have tricked me into saying, look, at the end of the day, you don't really need a YouTube channel. You can go and do things in a different way. You can pursue a different goal. But I had to take control of the voice. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to take control of that voice. I had to start talking about the reasons why I wanted a YouTube channel. I had to get ahead of the voice. And sometimes when the voice was saying to me, look, nobody's going to want to hear from you, I had to say, well, up until this point. I use that a lot. Whenever something comes in, whenever a thought comes in and it says, well, you can't do this, I say up until this point. Because I need to trick my brain into thinking, hey, we can't do this up until this point, but we can do it beyond this point. Sometimes the thought that is coming through is so negative, I just have to say, look, just shut up, because I'm trying to do something here. So I started talking about my reasons why I wanted a YouTube channel. And you know what flipped it for me? The minute I stopped making this channel about me, the minute I started making the channel about you, then all of a sudden I got the upper hand. And you only have to get a little bit of the upper hand. And when I got the upper hand, it allowed me to start. You know, the first thing I did, I got my phone and I just put the phone on the shelf and I did a video, just me talking about stuff. And it was just a video. I didn't send it to anybody. I watched it again once, but that was it. It began the momentum for me. Then I made a video and I sent it to David. I'm not going to tell you the whole process because, as I said, this isn't a video to build a YouTube channel. But I overcame so many things. I overcame the fear. I kept the focus on what I was doing. And I didn't get rid of the fear completely. I just got rid of the fear enough that I could take the next step. I practiced. And what does practice make? If you said perfect, then you're wrong. Practice makes progress. And what does progress make? Progress builds competence. And what does competence give you? Competence builds confidence. So you've got to start the momentum, and you've got to keep that momentum going. Inch by inch, you've got to keep on moving. You know, success, as Earl Nightingale put it, he said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal or goal. He didn't say it's the destination over here. He said it's the progressive realization. And that's where the power is, in moving ahead, the momentum, moving towards that goal that you're looking for. So don't be like me. I was thinking to myself, am I worthy? Am I good enough? Man, don't ever think that. God made you. He don't make junk. The last time I checked. So of course you're worthy. You just have to step up. I'm going to give you a bonus. And the bonus is that I didn't wait to be perfect. Don't wait until you're perfect. Don't wait till all of your ducks are in a row. As I said, I filmed myself on my phone. I started using my phone to make my YouTube channel. I'm laughing because no sooner did I get that phone configured and figure out how to use it, I took my son to Flip Out, the trampoline place, for a birthday party. I got into a fight with his 11-year-old friends. It was this tower, and I thought I could defeat them. They had me rolling off the tower. I rolled off the tower. They beat me up and broke my phone. They broke the lens on my phone. So I didn't even have a phone to film myself. I've got a camera that I'm filming now. I don't know how to work the camera. I went onto YouTube. I went onto a video, and the video told me how to set the camera, and I can't unset it now. So I have to put it in auto mode. I don't know how to work it. There's so many things I don't know. I'm in the YouTube back studio. I don't know what half of the things I'm looking at. What I'm trying to say to you is, whatever you are going to do, don't wait until you're perfect. When you're fighting fear, lose that shame of being scared. Admit to being scared. Admit to being fearful, because you give yourself the power to start identifying what's wrong. And you give yourself the power to start finding out why. And when you find out why you're scared, then you can deal with it. As I said, the only way I know how to deal with that fear is by step, by taking control of that voice, that self-talk. We're on a journey. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So I'm going to be back with more videos. I've just given you the start on how you can overcome fear. I'm going to give you so much more. If it's working for you, I'd like you to like, I'd like you to subscribe, I'd love you to share this. In the meantime, if you're thinking of going into business for yourself, then do yourself a favor. Download my 20-question business preparation risk assessment. You'll be glad that you did, because it's going to ask you all the questions that you need to see if you're ready to go into business for yourself. There's no right or wrong answers. All it's going to do is give you the information that you need to know whether you are ready to get into business or not. And I'll swap you your email address for it. In the meantime, all I'm going to ask you to do is to keep on being amazing, because you are. Speak soon. If you enjoyed this video, then please check out this video here, where I teach you how to boost your confidence in 3 easy steps. Or what about this video here, where I teach you how to maximize your time every day?